Peace to everybody. This is A Marvelous, and I'm back. I'm here with my personal trainer, Brandon. And today's subject is something that I wanted to touch on for quite some time. And the more I talk to people, the more I see it's something that's necessary. You know, it's the feeling of the subject matter is definitely rising and increasing in people from all ages. And basically what we're going to cover is, are you in line with your soul's purpose? Or are you a robot? Because a lot of times, you know, we do things, we get up, brush our teeth, we get clean, and, you know, got to go to work, alarm clock, things like that, and then every day it's the same thing. Is that life, or is that part of a program, habitual patterns that we have been accustomed to do, to think that we have to keep doing out of obligation? And is that something that your soul is calling you to do, or are we just robots in human form? So that's what I wanted to discuss. And I wanted to have Brandon here because in working out, that's an example of something that you could take control of for yourself, as opposed to just, you know, letting things take its course on your own and you fall victim to it. When you're working out, you kind of get more in line with your body. Things that you didn't notice before, you start noticing, and that's part of you taking control of who you are, as opposed to the environment and society taking control of who you are. But on the flip side, working out can also be part of a robotic program, because why are you working out? You know, are you working out because society says you have to look a certain way? Are you working out because of the societal pressures of you having to look good? So as you can see, you could take one thing, but based upon whether or not you're living something organic or natural, it could be special. Or if your motivation for it is to conform to what society says you have to do, it could be something that's robotic. And that seems to be what life is. Choices of your soul's purpose, with all the struggle that it takes for you to be who you are, or a robot, which comes with all the struggles of what society is saying that you should do. And what prompted this is not only just talking to people, but I was doing some research for my other videos, and I came across the origins of the soul. And that's from a book called Morals and Dogma, which I'm gonna get into another time. But in that book covers the different degrees of Freemasonry. And one of the degrees, it was talking about the soul's origin and the soul's purpose. And it was pretty much explaining how the soul is conceived and the different process it has to come to from other parts of the universe in order for it to be ready-made, for it to be inside of us as human beings. And when I was reading that, it made me wonder, like, wow, us as humans go through our regular struggle and our regular process, but we never think that what's in us has already went through these same struggles in another place, in other universes and other planets. And by the time we are born, in the time of a child, all of those struggles and experiences are within us. So what am I saying by saying that? That means that when we're born, we already have trials and tribulation that's inside of us, in our soul, but we just don't remember it because our slate is wiped clean. So that means that you're born for trials and tribulations. So I'm like, wow, even a baby that doesn't have any conscious recollection or can do things on their own already has all of this wisdom about what it is to overcome obstacles. That's deep. That's heavy. So, you know, I wanted to have Brandon here because we've been talking about these things, and, you know, at some point in time, everybody, I think, goes to that conflict of, yo, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? I have bills, I have struggle, and all of that stuff can start to weigh on you. You get depressed, you get, you know, your motivation is less, and you start thinking of things that bother you. But then in reality, how real are these things, right? If they print money out of thin air, they burn $1 million a day, you have bills, but a bill does not contribute to your well-being as a person or your character. How real are these things? So most of our time is occupied by stuff that's artificial. So if that's the case and you are what you think, you're thinking artificially. So how can you be an organic being and have a real experience with yourself, let alone someone else, if the things that you're thinking about aren't even organic? Especially if we're talking about how your soul came from a place that is organic, went through these trials with all of the infinite wisdom in the universe, And here we are thinking about rent or a phone bill, which is not. It's real because you're human and you need a place to live. But is it really real when you see something that makes you smile, or you with someone that you love? That's real. That other stuff isn't, but we think it is because we're hooked on survival. So is survival contributing to your artificial reality? And this is why I wanted to have Brandon here, because that's something that we discuss a lot. So do you think that survival is contributing to your artificial reality?
Yeah, most definitely.
And in what ways do you think that just surviving is taking you out of being the real Brandon or the natural you?
Because you said like the pressures we have with just day-to-day living.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta go out your way, like you say, to make ends meet. So I might just take this job I hate and do this job for the rest of my life and really hate it. But I'm just doing it so I can pay bills or pay child support or pay any kind of bill that I just have. And you know, you gotta do things in life because you don't like things to compound, as in bills.
Right.
And I feel like, yeah, that's definitely a result, and it definitely helps help compound. I don't want to curse, but it do help compound bills, and it do help with the artificial living you said. It definitely helps with the robotic nature, because you're waking up doing the same things constantly, like you said, go back to your waking up every morning, brushing your teeth, because society say you need to brush your teeth
right.
2 to 3 times a week. Now you got to floss. They got this new thing called charcoal. So to really find your purpose, I think to me is waking up doing something that makes you happy. I guess that's what we about to lead into with this whole conversation. And yeah, society is just artificial altogether.
Now I'm gonna touch on that because you're a personal trainer, so your whole like occupation is built on habits and things that people do every day, right? So as a personal trainer, right, what are some things you think motivate people to hit the gym? And I'm going to tie that into purpose and all that.
Like you said earlier, is what society says, how you need to look, how you need to feel. And nowadays we're in a trend of fitness.
Right.
You know, they portray certain standards on TV. Oh, you got to be this size 0. And then it make people a little heavier, a little more to stature. They make them feel like they out of place. Like, I'm pretty sure people done committed suicide due to what society said about how you should look, what's the standard. And then when it comes to this workout thing, a lot of people do it, but sometimes not even beneficial, because sometimes they'll work out, smoke, still don't eat right. And
now, why do you think that more people, and I'm gonna get back into the soul, because the reason why I want to do a video on the soul is because these things, soul, spirits, right? We've heard these before, but it's kind of hard to define these things because they're invisible. And when you're living, right, you only are pretty much a slave or imprisoned or a subject to your senses. That's why you ever heard the term the 5 gates of hell or the 7 gates of hell? That's talking about your face, because your nose is your smell, your eyes is your sight, your ears, right? If you look at the 5 gates, they're talking about the 5 and 7 gates of hell. It's talking about the openings in your face. Your 2 openings in your eyes, your 2 openings in your nose, your mouth, and your ears. That's the 7 gates. And then there's the 9 gates, which is the faculties of your genitals and your anus, in which you secrete waste. If you think about it, all of those openings are responsible for your pain and pleasure. If you think of everything that makes you feel good, it's involving one of those openings, right? If you think about the pain, it's involving one of those openings. So these openings are the 7 or 9 gates of hell. You know what I'm saying? That's your senses. So all of the hell and the pain that you go through is because of your hell as a human being. So if you want to rise above that with the 7 and the 9 gates of hell in these religious texts, right? How do you do it? Well, it's the soul. But what is this thing called the soul? And I'm a piggyback back on what you said. I just wanted to lay a foundation of what it said that the soul is based on ancient scriptures and things like that, right? They say a soul is a record of a creation of the Almighty Creator, right? So let's say you have one source of this whole thing, and that source, just by its being, emanates its will, and whatever its will is for that thing that was created to go out is the purpose of what that thing has to express. So let's say the Creator wants intent to be put out there from itself, and it shoots off this will, its purpose. And let's just say that comes in the form of a Michael Jackson to give a certain gift to the world. That person represents, if that person manifests what's inside of them, whatever it was that the Creator wanted to manifest in the universe at that time that thing was created. So when we come here as human beings, we all represent a separate, specific point of intent that Creator or creators wants to put out in the universe. And we call that a Brandon or Amar, we call that talent. The soul has a record of that creation, what its intent is for, and it stores it. And that is why you come back in many lifetimes if you haven't learned that lesson. So the soul is what? A storehouse. It's a storehouse of whatever that intent is, and it's a record of all the different lifetimes that intent went through in different forms throughout time. We have this record, each one of us, of whatever we were prior to and whatever we are now to manifest this existence that we have. So that's, in essence, what it said that the soul is. It's a storehouse of record that we each have based on the different existence that the creation, which is us, is now and was before. So I say all of that to say is, when you're not living your soul's purpose and you feel that prison feeling, like you're sealing, like you're not achieving or you're not here, why am I, the question exactly, why am I here? Or what the hell is this all for? What's the meaning of life and all that shit? That is your soul, right? Activating what it was created for, and that storehouse is also activated from the prior lifetimes if you was here before. Let me give you an example of that. There's a book called The Geography of Success, right? And the meaning, it says that every person, place, thing, city, location has a spirit, and that spirit was called a genie. That's where we get the word genius from. And these spirits nag every human until whatever is inside them comes out. That was the purpose of these spirits, these genies, was to nag you until whatever was in you that had to come out came out. We call it creativity. And that's also the meaning of the word demon. Demon means genius. So genie, genius, demon, all mean the same thing, but we've been taught that these things are bad. Demons historically are not bad. Demons are entities in spirit that was meant to create. So if you question yourself, why am I here? And you have this desire to manifest something, that's the demon or genie or spirit that we all have pushing you to not live artificially under what we think we should do and pushing you towards your intent. And that is why people like musicians and entertainers, right, they call them stars. It's no coincidence they link all of this to the universe, because they represent the highest order of expressing what their soul was here to express. And they get compensated by that, by the fame and the acclaim and the money. So the misery or pain that we feel is simply because we have not tapped into that which is in us, which is what we was intended for, and to give out into the world so that the world can see what it is that we came here for. So I had to lay that down to piggyback on what Brandon was saying, being that he's a personal trainer. He sees people go into the gym all the time. He works with all types of people, body types, races, genders, all that. But what might differ is the motivation. Are these people doing it for an organic reason, for health? Or are they doing it for a societal reason or a combination of both? Right? And that's why I asked you that.
It's a combination of both.
It's a combination of both.
Some of them.
So I pose this. Is it possible, right, to break away from this artificial reality that we live in and go on strike? What would happen if you did that? What would happen if you said, you know what? Forget this. I'm not going to live according to this artificial means. I'm not going to jump to this bell of having to make money. I'm going to unplug myself and live my soul's purpose. What do you think the consequence of that would be if you decided to live?
Unless you're going off the radar, going to live in a jungle somewhere, you're going to be out here homeless, starving. If you have certain bills like child support, they're going to find you, send you to jail. You might be stressed out more than you've ever been. Some of everything.
But will you be free? Is that really a negative thing?
It depends. If you still want to live the artificial or robotic lifestyle, then yeah, it'd be a big problem. But if you're trying to find your soul purpose or just want to be free of everything that this world offers, then that could be a good thing for you.
So let's explore that, right? So it sounds like we're choosing to live an artificial existence because it's comfortable. Because everything that you mentioned with unplugging, it just seemed dire. Homelessness, hunger, you know what I'm saying? Extreme stress, you damn sure ain't grooming, right? Possible prison time. So it sounds like we're choosing this prison of artificial reality because on the other side it seems like extreme pain.
Well, I wanted to piggyback that because a lot of times when I see somebody homeless or not very groomed or a person that just came from prison, they say that's when they find themselves. That's when they're the happiest. So it's like a give and take. You pick and choose. So I really don't know how to answer that. I definitely see people that's homeless and they the happiest people in the world. See guys come from prison, they the happiest thing in the world. They talk about how positive they are, how they found themselves in the box, the hole. So it's kind of give and take.
So let's explore that. So it sounds like there may be times when we might have to let things collapse. We might have to let things fall apart. In preventing things from falling apart and collapsing and preventing that kind of perceived suffering, it sounds like we're not really maturing and our soul is just getting in a worse state so we can be comfortable holding up the illusion. Maybe that's the key to happiness and unhappiness, is recognizing that what we perceive as that struggle might need to happen in order for your soul or those demons to come out of you so that you could really manifest who you are, and who knows what'll come in after that.
Oh, that's deep. Because I just read a passage. I know you're not the religious type, it's all a religion, but I read this passage about a guy that was a millionaire. They say damn near a billionaire. They say he sold all his companies, all his businesses, kept his little moped, went to Africa, and he said he the happiest man in the world.
It's deep. See? And you hear a lot of stories like that.
A whole lot.
So maybe we should begin to explore relinquishing these things that we think are real and actually living a natural existence. Maybe then we'll start to get the real pain out the way so the real healing and abundance can come into our life, as opposed to holding up this fort thinking that it's something that we need to do, all the while prolonging what our intention is from the soul and really being who we are. So, if I say that, are we really being real when we interact with people? If I'm holding up an artificial existence in my life, and I'm prolonging natural things in my life, and I meet you and we talk, are we really bonding on a natural level? Or are we presenting a face to each other in which we smile, we greet, but then it's not natural and real? And maybe that's why arguments happen, is because we're presenting these things that's artificial when we interact with each other. And when you get closer to someone and you start peeling out the layers of these artificial things that we hold up as real, we start having discourse because from the beginning, we didn't have that natural organic interaction. So maybe not letting your soul go through those suffering events that Brandon just mentioned is also a reason why people have conflict when they get close to each other, because the real them is coming out because the artificial layers are stripped away.
Wow. That's probably why a whole lot of relationships don't work. A whole lot of minds don't work. Because I definitely put up a facade. You know what I'm saying? I put up like, I mean, I am a good guy. I do respect women, but I have an attitude problem.
And that doesn't come out until later on.
Until later on.
But why though?
Because, you know, certain things that I let pass in the beginning, like certain little ways, you know, because some people is clingy. I mean, I can't be sometimes, so I don't want to say all just women are clingy, because men are too. But it's like certain things I let slip past, like the way they attitude are, or calling me when I'm telling the person I'm busy, and like stuff. I'm a Virgo, you know, I think too hard and I get frustrated with certain things. So, but I think the real me come out, and I think it's from me lying from the beginning, or putting up this facade like, oh, I'm not this type of person, instead of just being me, straight up and blunt.
Now, let's hold that. You see how it trickles down? It goes from a personal thing, and then affects someone else, and then now, when people disagree with each other, if it gets to a severe circumstances, the law gets involved, and then police get involved, and then lawyers and judges get involved, and now you got fines, and now you got all of this. Now you have a whole system that is making money and profit off the fact that our soul isn't being itself. So it seems like the whole system, right, because we're not taught and we don't have these kind of discussions, is geared for you to have semi-organic interactions. Because if you had a completely organic reaction, would crime drop? Would relationships increase? Maybe this is the reason why you see movies like The Purge, or why we have someone like Donald Trump as president, because the more artificial things that we hold as true, the more people that aren't as artificial break through that sphere, and we're so drawn to that, or these things, that's so offensive to us. So would someone like a Trump be president? Will we have movies like The Purge if from the beginning we operated from an organic standpoint? If you were allowed to just look, this is who I am, this is what it is, so whoever gets past that knows what they're getting into. So not exploring what the soul is, and avoiding these pain points which inevitably come to us because we'll still struggle with bills. Maybe that's a problem that is preventing people from healing in this world.
That's deep.
And you know, that's why I wanted to make this video, because this is something that I'm sure everybody goes through. And it's all about, you know, my slogan, just start the conversation, you know. Operate from the soul's purpose. What is the soul's purpose? And I recommend it. It's a heavy book, Morals and Dogma, but it's the 26th degree. It's called Night of the Brazen Serpent. And it explains the soul's purpose, and it was a real deep chapter. And when you recognize that everything in you is designed to go through trials and obstacles and to defend itself and to manifest, you start to understand that that's just the core principle of everything. Once you operate that way, things won't be as difficult as we think they are. So that's why I wanted to make this video, to kind of start having conversations based on what is your intention, what is your, I don't like to use the word purpose, but start defining things that are artificial and things that aren't. Like, we don't even have our own thought. If you sit down and you ask yourself, what is a thought that is organic to you, you realize you don't have much. It's either something from your parents, something from your friends, something from society, something from TV, something from music. But what thought can you honestly say belongs and came from you? It's not that much. Why? Because it's an artificial existence. So that's what the purpose of this video is for, is to start labeling what is artificial and what's not. Like worrying, and I'm guilty of it, is the negative use of imagination. You are focusing on something that didn't happen yet, right? And in doing that, it makes it happen to you even closer. So that is the purpose of this video. And you know, I wanted to have Brandon here because we talk a lot about it. And as a personal trainer, he gets to see people's habits in real time. He gets to see those clients that stop coming. Because one thing about when you work out, it's like farming, it's almost like breathing. It's some shit you gotta keep doing. You know, you have to keep doing. And if you stop doing it, you actually see the results. And the people that keep doing it is because the goal of being healthy or having that beautiful body outweighs whatever work and struggle it is to even get to the gym. You know? So what if we did the same thing in our conversation about the soul, right? What if we're suffering because we don't have a place to go to where we could just have these conversations? If we had a place that we could plug into just to talk about this, how much healing would that come? How much more positive would we be? So that's the purpose of these videos, is to start little groups where you can have conversation about, well, shit, we just gather here to see what the hell our intent is about. I'm meeting Brandon, he's helping spark something about me. I'm like, oh shit, I met this guy, or you met somebody, and then just that interaction, you start realizing, oh shit, this is another aspect of me, because I met this new person who's new in my circumference, and now I have other aspects that I have to bring out because this is a new person, you know? And that's the purpose of an organic experience. That's why they say we are children of stardust. We come from stars, literally. And that's why the Egyptians had pyramids, because they had to return back to actually become a star. So when you interact with people, that's stars sharing information. Shit, how was your journey? I know you down here on Earth like the rest of us. What's your experience like? And then you start sharing experiences. So when you die, your soul takes that, brings it back to where it came from, and then you start to go to a higher level where you don't even got to come back here unless you want to.
That's dope.
And that's what this for. So, you got any other thoughts?
What I would like to say, retract from living the artificial life. Don't retract it from your trainer. You need to get in the gym, make this work, and find your purpose, people.
And if you're in the New York area, please, reach out. Brandon, he's at Blink Fitness. Excellent. It's a great environment. I definitely recommend it. And this is also for you to comment and subscribe and give your feedback so we can have more dialogue like this, so it can be a consistent thing. So I want to know what y'all think. What is the biggest obstacle that you're facing and your soul relinquishing itself and not being in prison? Oh, that's the last thing. It also said that when you're born, a ladder is created for you to get back to where you came from. Also, that when you're born, your soul dies, and when you die, your soul is free. So with that, thank y'all for joining us. I really appreciate your time and attention. Time you can't get back. Attention is something that's precious. Be safe, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.